Power utility Eskom has started with the first trial of something called load limiting, and load limiting is set to or has already started. The first trial of load limiting measures have started during stage 1 to 4 load shedding, and the pilot will focus on a few customers with smart meters. Eskom says load limiting through smart meters is part of the demand side management. This is as initiatives to manage and optimize electricity consumption to better balance the supply and demand of electricity on the grid during stage 1 to 4 of load shedding. But to elaborate more on this, we are joined by Eskom spokesperson Daphne Mokoena. Daphne, good to have you. Thanks very, very much for joining us on the program.
Good morning, Lian, and good morning to your listeners as well.
Yes.
And thank you for having me this morning.
Yeah, thank you very, very much for your time. And I know that there was an alert that was just put out by Eskom a couple of minutes ago saying we're moving to stage 2 from 7 o'clock. It's been 7 this morning, so viewers must be aware of that. But it's been quite quiet for a while, but things now sort of seem to be loading up.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had some few generating units that were supposed to come back from yesterday, and they didn't come back. Hence, we then announced that we're going to stage 2. But later during the day today, we will announce after, observing how we actually perform during the day.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wait on that one, but I know that that's coming. So viewers, from 7 o'clock this morning, we go to stage 2, and then of course stage 3 will start later on. Let's talk load limiting now, because this is a pilot project that has been started, I know, in the Fourways area. Talk to us about that. That's here in Johannesburg. What exactly is load limiting for those people that haven't heard of it as yet?
Yeah. No, thanks, Lian. So load limiting, it's part of our demand side management program. During our media briefing, as part of our strategy for to manage the winter supply, we did also launch that we will be having demand side management as well, or relaunching demand side management. And so basically load limiting, what happens is with load limiting, during the time when you are supposed to be load shed. So basically the customer needs to follow his or her load shedding schedule. So say for an example, you are going to be load shed at 10 o'clock this morning. So before 10 o'clock, Eskom will send you a message that will require you as the customer to actually limit your load. Basically what that means is that you need to switch off some of your appliances, and mainly the appliances that consumes more electricity. And that normally would be your geyser, would be your stove, would be your pool pumps, your washing machine. So basically you would leave appliances like your fridge, it's fine. Some of your more efficient, obviously, globes or lights, and you still can operate your computer, you still can operate your Wi-Fi. So Eskom will send a command. Normally what happens is that Eskom sends a command to the meter to limit the meter to 10 amps. And so during load shedding at 10 o'clock, if you haven't switched off those appliances that I just mentioned, then you will experience load shedding, because the meter will trip or switch off. And then after 30 minutes, that meter will try to reset again. And if you still haven't switched off, for example, the geyser and the stove, and you're still using those high intensive consuming appliances, then you will basically, that meter will try to reset again, but it won't reset because you still have load more than 10 amps. So that process will happen every after 30 minutes up until you switch off. So
this is really for households. I mean, if we look at this, this is more aimed at households, so they can keep very limited appliances on, have lights, Wi-Fi, perhaps your TV, just so that you're not sitting in absolute darkness, but those items that do pull a lot of electricity, those you have to switch off. And if you don't switch them off, you will then you'll lose the electricity. So it's just trying to, what is the actual idea of this? Is this just to ease the severity of what we've been going through with load shedding to customers?
So basically the idea, as I said, that it is part of our demand side management. So it basically is to say to customers, other than us having to, switch off your electricity altogether, let's rather have, some of your appliances working. As we may know that some people are working from home, they can still continue using their computers, and you can still, run some of the few items. If it's at night, customers, obviously, we've had customers complaining about crime.
Yeah.
So your security.
All right, we seem to be having a real problem with Daphne's connectivity there, but we'll see if we can. It looks like she may be back. Daphne, we're just having a very big problem with your connectivity. I just want to see if we can still hear you. I can see you still speaking, but we're not hearing anything.
From our side, because as you would know, that load shedding. So when we do this, sorry.
All right, Daphne, I would completely lost you.
There?
Yeah, we completely lost you in terms of what you were saying. But let me move on to another question. I think we got the gist of what you were saying from the beginning of your answer. But in terms of the piloting, we know it started in, I don't know if it was more than one area, but the one that I sort of am aware of is in Fourways in Johannesburg. That started on the 23rd of June. How is that going? Have you got more areas that you're trying this out on, and how is it going?
Yeah. Basically, it's around Fourways, Polshof. We've got 5 substations that we are, piloting on, but it's around that area of Polshof, Fourways, the bigger Fourways. But we are looking into having other areas that have smart meters, because if there's no smart meters, then this pilot obviously won't be able to be implemented. So in those areas, and the reason why we chose Fourways, Leanne, is because we had implemented smart meters around 2016, 2017, around there. Smart meters around certain area, about 32,000 meters that we had installed. So it was a little bit easier for us to pilot Sandton as on this project, because of those meters that we have installed in the past few years.
Yeah. How is it going? Have you had feedback? Have you seen how the program is actually working in these areas that you've done it, and how are the residents behaving? I suppose I say behaving as in switching off those key appliances that actually do draw a lot, and sort of, not going into complete darkness, but are able to ride it out during those times. Have you seen it working?
In actual fact, when you're saying behaving, that's actually the whole idea, that we change the behavior in terms of how we use electricity, especially now, while we are focusing on, bringing back our generators. But at least let's not have, a bigger impact on customers by actually having higher stages of load shedding. Yeah, to answer your question, we have seen, some customers appreciating the pilot, although some have said that they haven't actually benefited from it. And I think we just need to do more of, communication to our customers, because basically what I suspect that is happening is that these customers are not switching off what they need to switch off, because if you don't switch off those appliances that I mentioned earlier, you won't obviously enjoy the benefit. But if you switch off, or because you are not receiving maybe your message or your SMS, maybe because of you haven't updated your particulars, maybe your contacts with us, then probably the customers are not receiving that SMS that they are supposed to receive. But if you don't receive the SMS, it's not a train smash, Leanne, because they can just still follow their load schedule. The load shedding schedule. So before you can be load shed, you just need to switch off those appliances for you basically to enjoy the benefit.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, is this sort of managed through, obviously, if you've registered, if you've got a smart meter, that you should, by right, automatically get that message to say, hey, Leanne, calm down, you're using too much energy, and you've got a couple of, a minute or two, 5 minutes to reduce it, and then hopefully you will stay on. Is that how it will work?
So basically what will happen if it trips, what will happen is that on your customer interface unit, because remember a smart meter has that what we call the CIU, or the customer interface unit, which is that little gadget that you plug in and that has a display unit. So basically it will show that your power has it's overloading. So when it says it's overloading, it means that your meter would have tripped, and you need to keep on switching off some of the appliances that are actually overloading your system.
Brilliant. Daphne, where are we expanding this to next? This is obviously the project that's happening right now. Where to next with this?
Yeah. So we're still looking at the areas that has smart meters. As I said, that unfortunately this can only be implemented where we have implemented or installed smart meters. So we do have some electrification areas where we have installed smart meters. We're just starting to test whether we've got everything, and this pilot will actually work as it is working in 4 ways where customers are, responding positively.
Brilliant. Daphne, thanks for talking to us. So, all right, there we go. That's explaining it. Daphne talking to us about load limiting. That was Daphne Mokoena, Eskom spokesperson. So let's talk. The big showers of electricity, nice word, got to use it, that just eats your electricity away. You're basically looking at, kettles, irons, your geysers, the pool, your oven, all of that kind of stuff. So as soon as you get that warning, you've got to switch them off. But the things you will be able to use, TV, decoders, Wi-Fi routers, and fridges. Those can function. So that's what this load limiting is all about. And if you run over the amount that's been given to you, boom, you'll join the rest of the country in darkness. So yeah, let me know. What do you think about it? Load limiting. That's a new thing that Eskom is trialing and hopefully be spread out around the rest of the country. But for those that have smart meters.